Welcome to the October 16th, 2018 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is now called to order. Commissioner Carpenter will lead us in invocation.
Please stand. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the city. Thank you for all the members that are here that are present as we continue to conduct the business of the city. We'd ask that you turn an open ear to what we will be working on this evening, and that all that we do will be truly honoring you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If we have any corrections to the minutes, please speak at this time. And I did find one. Let's see. There was an incorrect last name. It should have been Rogers, and it's on page 2 of the minutes, about 3/4 of the way down. 3 paragraphs from the bottom. If we can correct that. That was the only correction that I saw. Did anybody else have a correction? If not, we'll ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, same sign. Thank you. We have no consent agenda tonight, therefore we will start with the regular agenda. The purpose of this meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and in opposition to the applications before the board. Tonight is the first of 2 public hearings required to approve a change in zoning. The board also considers plats. The procedure for public hearing items to be followed tonight will be: the public hearing will be opened and testimony will be heard in the following order. First, the applicant, second, staff, and third, the general public. That would include those in support and in opposition to the requests. If you're part of a large group with a common interest, we ask that you appoint a spokesperson. When addressing the board, please begin by stating your name and address and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing on the matter will be closed and no further public discussion will be entertained. After each public hearing is closed, the board will vote on the request. Zoning requests and the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation will go forward to the second public hearing, which will be conducted by the City Council on November 8, 2018. Thank you. We have 2 agenda items. Agenda item A. Angela.
Thank you. A public hearing will be held to consider application PD 18-08 filed by Clefrecia Rogers to rezone Lot 1, Block 17, Lookout Hill from Single Family 5 to planned development for an event center, office, and/or a church located at 515 North Court Street.
Thank you. Would the applicant please come to the microphone?
I'm Clefrecia Rogers. My address is 17457 County Road 366, Winona, Texas.
You want to tell us a little bit more about your project? I know we discussed this at the last meeting, but if you'll bring us current, please.
Okay. I have requested that the location be used as a meeting and event center, as well as business spaces for offices or small seminars, teachings, trainings, and of course church events to be held there.
Thank you. Mrs. Rogers, does anyone have any questions of the applicant? Hearing none, thank you. We'll ask for staff's comments.
Thank you. Based on the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the applicant did resubmit a request to go from single family 5 to a planned development to allow for only those 3 uses that were listed on the agenda tonight, which is an event center, office space, and for a church located at 515 North Court Street. As stated previously, the building was previously used for LISD administration, the COG administration, as well as a church, which all those uses were allowed in single-family zoning. Staff does find that the proposed zoning change is consistent with the surrounding uses, and staff does recommend approval of this request. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions? Hearing none. The public hearing is open to the general public. Is there anyone that would like to speak in support or in opposition of this agenda item? Seeing none, the public, yes, please come forward. Thank you.
My name is Isela Moreno from 309 Northcote Avenue, Longview, Texas, 75601. And just a question on, I heard that instead of just 3, the event center office under church purposes, I heard business basis. What does that mean?
That's a good question, because I think we only discussed offices. I think business space is just a loose term, but it's just office space. So it's going to be an event center, office spaces, and church.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the business does not include
There wouldn't
any
be
other
any
type of
retail.
business?
Yeah, there would not be any retail type uses or anything like that. But like if the church wanted to have an office space, or if somebody wanted to do maybe just an office like a bookkeeping or something like that, that would be allowed, but no retail space or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. The chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item B. Angela?
Thank you. This will be a public hearing, will be held to consider application PD 18-09, filed by DSF Partners LP to rezone approximately 6.8 acres of Abstract 186, D. Sanchez Survey, Tract 1, Section 8, from agriculture to planned development single-family detached located on the south side of East George Ritchie Road, east of Gilmer Road.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Good evening. My name is Aaron Alston. I'm representing DSF Partners. It's 914 West Loop. So this is a approximately 6.8 acre tract next to the Spring Hill High School. It's currently wooded, unimproved tract that we've got platted to show a planned development with 19 lots in there. And I don't know if you can't really see the lot divisions on there, but they're basic lots are approximately minimum width. We've got it 50, minimum length 100. The minimum home size would be 1,000 square feet. These are the minimums. Really, we tried to stay as close as we could to SF4 zoning stuff. It was just the lot size. We fell just a little bit short with the depth on the lots.
Would
But-
you repeat those again, those dimensions that you just gave us?
Yes, ma'am. So the minimum home size would be 1,000
Right.
square feet. The minimum lot width would be 50.
50.
The minimum depth would be 100.
Thank you.
And so, as you can see, we've only got one entrance there off of the George Ritchie Road. We come in, make a cul-de-sac, and come back out the same way. It would be a city-dedicated street, built to city standards, not gated in any way, but would be a kind of a closed community, if you would, just by nature of the fact that it only has one entrance. But the idea is just to put some, quality homes next to the high school where they're lacking some residential options right now.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant?
I do, 1,000 square feet. Are you talking about 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom? What do you,
The idea there's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and they're probably more like 1,600 square feet.
okay,
But when we're looking at like the planned development minimums,
right.
we were closer in lot size to the SF4, and so that's kind of just what filtered out of that. But that's by no means the intent of what we would build there. That's just the minimum standard that we would set on the PD.
Any additional questions? I just simply would like to say that this reminds me a little bit of when the Loop was first built back in 1978, 79. There's a lot of opportunity. That's a beautiful road. We want to get it right. So I have a couple of additional questions, if you don't mind. I was asking when I got here tonight what the right-of-way is from the curb to your property, and I think I got an answer on that. But then I have a question about the topography, the mature trees, what your plans are for the lot itself.
Right,
The
so
total-
actually, there is one very majestic tree kind of right central in this location. It's a big pin oak tree that we hope to sculpt the road around. In fact, Lone Oak would be probably the name of the subdivision we were kind of shooting for. Some of that we won't know until we do get in there and do some clearing, but the idea is to keep a neighborhood that has as many trees and shade, and I mean, that's kind of the goal of what we're shooting for here. It's not to go in and just clear cut the whole thing and start over, but we want to try to keep as much of the natural topography as we can. And you can't
Good.
see from here, but there's quite an elevation change from
Yes.
George Ritchie Road to the top of that hill.
Yes.
And so there'll be quite a bit of green, unusable, unbuildable area from George Ritchie to the actual home site. So I anticipate the lots there on the south side of George Ritchie will have a big green backyard area that remains wooded with privacy against George Ritchie to a elevated pad site in the front, which would face the new neighborhood road in front of it.
Is there fencing planned around that development?
We will probably do something as a barrier to the road noise for George Ritchie, as much natural vegetation as we can, but those plans haven't been finalized yet at this point. I mean, those are all ultimately a question of cost as to what we can put there.
Now, these are for sale, they're not rentals, is that
That's
correct?
correct. Yes, ma'am. Single family for sale.
I don't see any green space, such as a dog park with some trees or any green space. Is that a potential?
Well, that's something that we talked about. There is some low unbuildable area to the east, to the east sides of the lots 19 down to 15. And we had some renditions that kind of pardoned that area off and left it separate, but in working with staff and in working with the engineers, we were concerned that that would leave that area ultimately just a problem for maintenance long-term, years from now, with how that would be maintained because it is low, it's a creek. And so the rendition we have now is to donate that land or include that land in those east side lots so that it doesn't become an unused parcel of property. And there's no other way to get access because of we got to be 400 feet from the next entrance. So gaining access to that parcel would become problematic as a standalone tract.
I have a question also.
Okay.
If I'm looking at this correctly, one of the exits out of the Spring Hill schools, there's a road there. Are you closing that road?
No, sir.
The road's gonna go through the subdivision?
Well, the back of the lot stops short of the road. I mean, the property that DSF owns does include that driveway that the school has put there, but the back of these lots falls short of that. So the new property owners that would purchase 8, 9, and 10 would not own that road, and their property line indeed would have a setback off of that. It's hard to see from that because the lines are, I guess, faded out, but
So that fence then would extend around at the back of those 3 lots. Is that correct?
yeah, they would be separate from that road. That property would not encroach on that road at all, even though DSF does.
They
own
won't,
it.
and they won't have access to that road.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
the lots
shows it
won't.
on page 16 where it shows that buffer.
Okay,
Yeah.
you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a dotted line across there. But of course, it's important to maintain that visibility coming out of that part of that school lot, so. But you said the easements, or the right-of-way is about 30 feet, I think. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and it's quite a hill there, so you're up high looking down on the road.
All right. Any further questions of the applicant?
Yeah, looking at these, the square footage and things on the lots as well as the housing, 2.5 stories, are these gonna resemble like a little tiny house?
That's not the intention.
Not the intention,
No,
so
sir.
it will not happen? You know what I'm
No.
saying? Okay, it just, I don't think that'd be a good fit for that area.
I don't think so either. We're thinking masonry, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, traditional homes you'd see and really the price dictates all that. I mean, the land is expensive, it's gonna be expensive to develop, and therefore the homes are gonna, naturally, they're not gonna be inexpensive homes because of that. So
What's your range, are you guessing?
probably 165, 175.
And are those garages going to face the front? Just because of the narrow?
Yeah.
They probably
won't
would,
have- yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I had a question. It looks like there's a triangle that's going to be left over in front of the school that is part of your property?
Do you mean to the west of that road?
Yes.
Yeah, and as far as I understand, that's not part of this plan development. That property is owned by DSF and will remain just as it is now. I guess DSF has given an easement to the school for that road way back when, but that is not part of the plan development that we're asking for.
It's just going to be left as green space.
Right,
And the school maintains that.
Spring Hill has
They are at this
easement
time, I
to
assume
Correct.
they'll continue that.
correct.
So,
Let me show,
so
let's see,
this
looking
is
on
not
here.
really triangular. The plan development is not.
Correct, it is not.
Uh-huh.
The plan development stops to the east of that school.
Well, and this will be
driveway.
left as green space. It's not going to be a lot.
I understand,
Yeah.
but some
Yes,
people
ma'am.
were asking about green spaces.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that there might be something that could be done
There
with that.
could be, it's just access. You'd have to use the school access probably to get to it,
Okay.
which is.
Okay, who owns the road now that would go through the property of Spring Hill?
DSF Partner owns the land that the road is on.
So they could close it or take it back anytime they
No,
wanted to?
they have an easement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
The
have
school-
an access easement. The
Access
school
easement.
has an access easement. It's a driveway.
So that actually belongs to Spring Hill ISD?
They have an access
Or the
easement.
city of Longview, I guess, but.
Well, it doesn't belong to the city of Longview. It's an access easement for the school. So the school has an easement, but the property underneath it is owned by DSF.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who'd be responsible for taking care of that part of that road?
It's not a road, it's a driveway. The
Driveway.
school, yes, sir.
Any additional questions of the applicant?
So that entrance is, the road we're talking about is just past the main entrance of the new school.
Yeah, it's an exit from the baseball fields and
Yeah,
see right here. This side.
right here.
Side, a lot of parking for the football stadium. It's a major exit out of the school, basically.
Entrance and exit. Entrance and exit.
Well, primarily an exit, but
Is it?
yes, it is an entrance also.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move to staff now. Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant is proposing to construct a 19-lot residential subdivision for single-family detached homes. As Mr. Alston previously stated, these lots will have a minimum lot size of 5,000 square feet, minimum width of 50 feet, minimum depth of 1,000, or 100, excuse me, 2.5 stories maximum, and a minimum house size of 1,000 square feet. The site plan does show a front setback of 25 feet from the front property lines, 5 feet from the side property lines, and 10 feet from the rear property lines. Also shown on the site plan, there will be a sidewalk, a public road, along with a public sidewalks on both sides of this roadway. This portion of George Ritchie Road is maintained by TxDOT and is a principal arterial roadway. This type of development is appropriate along this type of roadway as long as access management is followed, and no access from any of the residential lots will be allowed onto George Ritchie. Staff does find that the proposed zoning change is consistent with the future land use map and surrounding uses. Staff does recommend approval of this request. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Do you know who owns the property behind this development? Or is that school property back there? Or
I believe the school owns the majority of this, but I believe this is privately owned. I can look back at our notification map. It says Joseph, yes, it's this, yeah. But Spring Hill owns this along with this tract.
Spring Hill owns about half of that, and then, okay. Any questions of staff? Commissioners? Hearing none, we'll open the general public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in support or in opposition of this agenda item? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Any additional questions by staff, by commissioners?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you. Do we have a staff update?
Yes, the zoning case that went to council, the one zoning case off of Toledo Circle, was approved by city council.
Thank you. Any citizen comments? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your attendance.